Folks, it is time to reveal our Week 4 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Spotlight games. And before we reveal them,
okay,
you and I sat down on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, we were at dinner, and we were talking about, man, this week is going to be a little tougher than usual.
Because what else would we talk about at dinner with all of our friends who don't work in Texas high school football? They were all having a good time, and we were scheming.
Yeah, and that's just that is just a great look into how our lives are, because we are sick people. I remember I turned to you at one point during dinner, and I was like, dude, I don't know what we're going to do for spotlight games this week, because it's first of all, it's a big bye week. Week 4 and week 6 are always big bye weeks in Texas high school football. So we didn't have nearly as many games to choose from, and the matchups just weren't as good as they are in other weeks, right? So you and I put our heads together, and we come up with the coolest list of spotlight games.
Yeah, this is a
banger.
Yeah.
This is a banger of a list, and we're highlighting a lot of the smaller teams, which is awesome because we typically don't get to do that. So this is going to be really awesome. Yep. So are you guys ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
We start off on
Take it
Thursday.
over, ma'am.
We start off on Thursday night. How about this? This is a big school game, but it is one, man, we are so stinking pumped up about. Willis taking on the Woodlands, both 3-0. This is likely the district title game in 13-6A. So the Woodlands kind of a quiet 3-0. We wondered what they would look like without their quarterback, Mayberry McTower, who
Wisconsin.
To Wisconsin. Yep. New quarterback, Jack Dalton, has stepped in. He's been a rock star so far. He's got some good connections on the outside out there. And then Willis, another program that we wondered, what are they going to look like with a brand new quarterback? So DJ Lagway obviously leaving for Florida after becoming Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year this past year. Jack Emerson has now, both Jacks, the Jacks are back. Jack's Dalton for the Woodlands, Jack Emerson for Willis. He's looked incredible. They've got skill players all over the field, but this one should be really, really exciting. Willis beat the Woodlands last year. So I'm interested to see. Last year, they could just outscore anybody that they went up against. This year, their defense is going to have to play a little bit better against what has been a really good Woodlands attack offensively to start off with. But this is marquee matchup type stuff. Well,
and I wanted to point out, too, that I think, and tell me if you disagree, but I think this is kind of the first real test for both teams.
Yeah.
I don't think the Woodlands has really played up to their caliber yet. We really haven't seen what they are actually made of. So, of course, they're 3-0. And then Willis, I guess you could make an argument that Klein Collins was a great matchup for them, but I don't think Klein Collins is as good as we were. I thought they were as good as we thought.
Especially at that point in the year, we thought they were going to be better, and I haven't been impressed with Collins at all so far.
Correct. So I think this is actually the first real test for both of these teams, so it'll be exciting.
I think it'll decide that district. Another one, let's do a little cross-classification matchup. This one is so exciting down in this portion of the state. The Hitchcock Bulldogs in 3A Division I taking on Belleville, the reigning 4A Division II runner-ups. So this is just it's name brand football. You've got Lloyd Jones the third, obviously, with Hitchcock there going off with their skill talent. What do they look like against just a punishing defense for Belleville,
led by menace DJ Sanders?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that DJ Sanders could try and sack Lloyd Jones is like all that you need to be enticed with this game.
That's where my eyes are going to go, is like that offensive matchup for Hitchcock and that defensive matchup for Belleville.
It'll be very interesting to see how Hitchcock's offensive line fares with that grueling defensive line for Belleville. So line play is going to be big in that one, but very, very excited as the number 3 ranked teams in 4A Division II and 3A Division I take off. So that's your Thursday night slate. We will be locked in to those. Moving on now to Friday, another cross-classification matchup. That's difficult to say. And that would be 3A Division I's number 7, the Pottsboro Cardinals, head west and take on the Hornets of Munster. They are the 3rd ranked team in 2A Division II. So this one, a big classification deficit. We won't give away too much, but what I will say is that the offensive line variance here in average weight. For Munster, it's about 180 pounds is the average weight of their offensive linemen. For Pottsboro, it's about 280. About 300 to 280 on both. I think it's 280 on the offensive line, 280 or 260 the average defensive line weight. So big guys up front. Munster has a lot of playmakers. I think that they have a lot of key returning starters that have looked really good thus far in the year. They had an incredible win over Windthorst that I thought was incredibly impressive last week. That being said, can they score early and often before the size and the depth of Pottsboro starts to wear them out? They don't want to get into the fourth quarter. They want to have a lead going into halftime if you're Munster and trying to just, you need to come out of the gates
survive.
and just let it rip.
Right, because like you said, they don't have, I don't think they're going to have the depth to keep up with Munster, so they got to remain healthy too.
Yeah, I'll take Pottsboro in this, just the classification difference, the sheer size of the line difference, but Brady Carney and his squad have looked very, very good so far, so excited to see what they can do.
Great quarterback matchup too. Really, really both strong quarterbacks on both sides of the ball, or both sides.
How about some Beast Texas action? This one is box office stuff. Carthage taking on Tyler Chapel Hill. Okay, what more do you want? So Carthage had their revenge game against, they were newly ranked, Texarkana Liberty ILU. They were new to the rankings last year. They snuck into that 10th, or last week, they stuck into that 10th spot. But obviously, Carthage, if you don't remember, took a week 1 loss to Kilgore, then had a bye week, which was really good because Jet Surratt, their quarterback, was banged up in that game against Kilgore. Looks to be like a 58-20 victory over Liberty ILU was the right way to get Carthage back on track.
Yeah.
Chapel Hill, on the other side, 3-0, had a really, really, really good week 1 showing against Jasper, 56-20, and then snuck out a win against Gilmer. Snuck out a win against White House, which that was a good win. That's a 5A program in White House. Tyler Chapel Hill was actually down like 13-0 heading into the second quarter.
Right.
And was able to bounce back. Concerning about Chapel Hill is that Demetrius Brisbane, their do-it-all quarterback athlete, went down last game. We have not heard his status other than it is undetermined right now whether or not he will play against Carthage. But Ricky Stewart, if they're going to want to go up against what is just a tenacious Carthage defense, Ricky Stewart's going to have to put on the cape.
Yeah, and like you said, Demetrius Brisbane is more of that dual threat type of quarterback, so that takes a lot away from that run game. And I will be curious to see how much weight Ricky Stewart can hold, because he's going to bury the whole weight. He's going to hold all of the weight on his shoulders in this game, in the run game.
And the other side of that too is how important, this is my question to Jeff Reardon, is how important is a name brand win, like getting a win over a program like Carthage, even though you're a classification bigger than them, or a division bigger than them, but how much weight do you put into wanting that statewide recognition of going, wanting that East Texas recognition, rather than do we worry that we're going to overextend Ricky Stewart, or do we rush Demetrius Brisbane back in here when he doesn't necessarily need to be in? If he's any sort of questionable, if it was me, I would say this is a non-district game.
Correct.
And that's where I'm going to. Does not matter.
That's where I'm going to.
Does it matter? Yes.
It does, but in the long scheme of things, like, district play is more important.
It's not going to keep them from getting to. We're not the college football playoffs.
No,
these wins don't. They carry a lot of weight, and especially taking down a team like Carthage, that carries a ton of weight. But when it comes to the health of your potential superstar being in all district play into the playoffs, like, play the long game there.
Yes.
So interested to see where those injury reports come back. But a tasty one down in East Texas. To Central Texas we go. The number 6 ranked team in 4A Division II, the Wimberley Texans, taking on the Badger of Lampasas. 4A Division I for Lampasas, so another cross-classification matchup here. Lampasas off to a 3-0 start. Really good wins over Fredericksburg, Salado, and Killeen Chaparral. Wimberley, you'll remember, blew Canyon Lake out in week 1. A very good win against Fredericksburg. And then last week, falling to Austin LBJ. We had questions as to how Wimberley's defense would be able to contain the electrifying speed on the outsides for LBJ. And the answer to that was not well. Now, Wimberley is a very hurt squad right now. They are relying on their quarterback, Cody Stover, to basically do everything because of the amount of injuries that they have. For Lampasas, their quarterback, Reed Jerome, has looked really good. He's a senior now, started as a linebacker his sophomore season, ended up transitioning over to quarterback last year, now has a year of footing under his belt there. But he's got some weapons on the outside. Damian Rivas, I believe is how you say it. Their running back has put up over 300 yards of rushing already through 3 games. So looking impressive there. Interesting to see. I feel like this is a really good look for what Lampasas is, and you got to remember they have a mutual opponent. So Wimberley beat Fredericksburg 35-9. Lampasas beat them 40-21. So a little bit of work that the Lampasas defense is going to have to do to stop Cody Stover. But how are we getting anyone back from all those Wimberley injuries will be another deciding factor here.
I also think that Lampasas might be getting Wimberley at the right time. Like, this was going to be a tough game regardless. But since Wimberley is so banged up in so many key spots, Lampasas might be able to capitalize on that.
And it goes back to what we were saying about the Demetrius Beersman thing. This is not a district game.
No.
So if you're Doug Warren, you're going, hey, we could take them out and get them in to start playing now, or we could wait a week and get our guys healthy.
Right.
And do that. So that might be another deciding factor here, because especially next week for Wimberley, it's their big rivalry game against Geronimo Navarro, which is back in their district this year. So that's always a really fun one down there. All right, the next one is probably the game of the week across the entire state. And we're not going to talk about it much because it is number 7 College Station is number 7 A&M Consolidated in District 12 5A Division 1 taking on their District 12 5A Division 1 bunkmate in the 4th ranked College Station Cougars. Absolute banger that we're not going to talk about because
we'll talk about them here in a bit.
We're covering the Brazos Valley in the latter half of the show, so probably something that we should save to talk about there. Yes. But we will have this game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live and as one of our spotlight games on Texas football tonight. All right, we'll skip past that one. How about we head to the Hatch?
The Hatch.
A neutral site game on Friday night against the 4th ranked team in 4A Division 1, the Salina Bobcats, taking on the 3rd ranked team in 3A Division 1. So a classification jump here in the Franklin Lions. This just rocks. Also, if you want a game that you can go to for about an hour and a half and be back in bed or back to watch the last hour of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, boy, do I have a game for you. Run the ball. That's going to be the story of this one. Franklin, obviously, running the Slot T, another team in the Brazos Valley that we will talk about quite a few of their players, so I won't get too far into that. They're household names. You all know them by now. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But Franklin and their Slot T going up against a Salina Bobcats squad that has looked very impressive. A big week 1. Okay, listen to what they've done.
I was looking at their schedule. They are rolling and firing on all cylinders right now.
So
insane.
Huge week 1 win against Belleville, 49-30. Week 2, they go down to Waco La Vega on the road and take them down 49-27. In week 3, they take on Gunner. Again, classification disparity. They're not taking anything away from what Salina did, but a 38-7 victory over Gunner at any point is good. Now, giant classification jump there, but a very good showing. This is another real good test, even though it's a lower classification, a real good test for the Salina defense. How well do they stop the Slot T?
Yeah, and this looks like Salina's last non-district game before they get stuck in a pretty tough district. I mean, Frisco, Panther Creek, Aubrey. You can throw Paris in there because they took down what was that 7-0 win? Did they take down a couple of weeks ago.
Was it Gilmer?
They had a huge win a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Paris did. So they're in Sulphur Springs. Throw that in there. Lake Dallas. I mean, this will be a really good test for Salina, I think, against Franklin.
Go Falcons.
Go
correct.
Falcons.
Yeah, Lake Dallas alum in there, Vianney Moreno. But yeah, it'll be a really, really good test for Salina before they really start diving into that district play.
Yeah, and
I gotta stay healthy.
If there is a defense that can stop Franklin slot T,
it's gonna be Salina,
because the way that they play, they've got kind of like that 10-1 going
they
on.
Run the okay,
and they want you to go up the middle. They don't want to get into the outside. They want to force you to go into the middle, and when you're running the slot T, that's what you're dealing with. So keep your eye on the ball and not your man, and they'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So interested to see how that one ends up going on. All right, one last one I believe to talk about here, and that would be a San Antonio versus Austin matchup. And I know what you're saying. Yeah. San Antonio versus Austin. The Austin team just continues to blow them out every single time. This might be the year, folks.
Mm-hmm.
The 9th-ranked Cibolo Steel Knights in District 29 6A taking on the 14th-ranked Austin Westlake Chaparrals in 26 6A.
I really like this.
This game rocks.
Yeah.
This game rocks. You've got a Tony Salazar-led defense going up against one of the most skillfully talented teams, not only in San Antonio, across the state. The amount of prospects that Cibolo Steel has is jarring.
Well, and they returned all of them too. Like this is not only is this a talented squad, this is a veteran squad, which makes them that much more dangerous. I cannot wait to see Cibolo Steel's skill players going up against this Austin Westlake defensive line, who is also filled with a ton of prospects.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's where your eyes are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be how can the Austin Westlake Chaparrals slow them down enough to be able to match them?
I think it's all in the secondary.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be one of the biggest tests that the Austin Westlake secondary will get all year long.
Mm-hmm.
The skill players on the outside. It's just
receivers are insane. Yeah,
I mean, you've got Chad Warner at quarterback, who
gunslinger.
Set the record for both passing yards and touchdowns in a single season. You've got OU commit Jonathan Hatton at running back,
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State commit Royal Capella at wide receiver, SMU commit Jalen Cooper,
and then Samuel Harris also at running back, who's got P4 offers. Like
this is going to be a test for a Westlake defense that we talk all the time about being led by the best defensive mind in the state. And this is a Westlake squad, too, may we remind you, that took a loss at home to Humboldt-Atascocita last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not throwing dirt on Westlake. They're a really good team. I'm just saying the narrative of San Antonio never being able to get over the hump very well could change. The last thing I will say about this is an Austin Westlake squad that also took a loss at home last week, and that doesn't sit well in Westlake.
No,
that doesn't
happen in Westlake either.
So, Tony Salazar revenge game, a get-right game. After we're sitting here talking about going, this could be the year that San Antonio does it, this one is fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And by far and here's the thing too, you can also say that Westlake's been tested.
Mm-hmm.
They've been tested by one of the best teams in the state. I don't really think Cibolo Steel has been tested.
No.
Now they've got a good resume. They played Liberty Hill, San Antonio Reagan, both really solid teams. Also San Antonio Brandeis, not bad, but this is a team that is going into this game not being super tested. And I wonder if that does sway into Westlake's advantage a little bit.
Yeah, I think Liberty Hill is down this year from what they've been. I think Reagan is a little bit down this year from what they've been. So it's like those teams up to full strength might have given us a little bit better of an insight, but Westlake is very much better than both of those teams.
Yes.
So there you go. There are our spotlight games for week 4. Of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Simultaneously, it takes forever to get to the state championships and also goes by in a blink of an eye.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Crazy. But we are super excited. I know that it's one of the biggest bye weeks in the state, like you said, but you want to talk about an incredible slate of game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
We worked really hard to put this together. So tune into Texas Football Tonight at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. You can watch it for free on YouTube,
For free.
Twitter, Facebook, and TexanLive.com. And go ahead and become a subscriber of TexanLive.com. If you like what you see, if you tune in and you like all of those games, we'll throw up QR codes throughout the show that will take you directly to TexanLive.com, where you can become a subscriber. And man, you can get all the games in the world.
Yeah, and those are just our 6 spotlight games. We have a ton of other games this week.
So many games. So TexanLive.com/subscribe to become an official subscriber, and you get a bunch with that as well. So very excited for
more
week
of
4.
Our nonsense.
More of our nonsense. 7:30 Friday night. Texas football tonight.